Hello, today I thought I would give you a little tour of my studio as I cleaned it recently, so now is a good time. Follow along. So my studio is in the basement, so when you come down the stairs, this is what you see. You can see I like to collect artwork. So this is where I keep all my sweaters and jackets because it's really cold in my studio, so I need those things. This is a painting bag that I made. It's essentially got like slots in there to keep paintings in if I'm, taking them to a show or something. Because I make kind of all the same size, it works really well. You can see there's some artwork on the wall of things I've made, things other people have made. That daisy is a print by Candace Leyland. That is my original rejection letter from the Alberta College of Art and Design way back in 2004. I will say that I did go a couple of years later, and while I was upset that they said no at the time, it was a good thing because I wasn't ready to go. But I went and it turned out well, and I'm an artist for life, so that's the way it is. This is my shelf of knick-knacky things. I kind of collect postcards from exhibitions and things from other artists. There's lots of business cards in here, cards from friends, that sort of thing. When I need a little bit of a kick in the pants, that's the place to go. There are other things here, things I've made. This is a teacup lamp. It's got a little light in the bottom. Let me see. You can turn it on. Kind of a little like Narnia lamp. There's some automata in the back, things I've made. That flying pig spins around. There's a light box of an ice fishing shack with a ice auger there. There's some more collectible stuff, knickknacks, little bits and things for using for sculpture or whatever. Then there's other artwork. This is my wheel of life, I call it. Or wait a minute, is that Wheel of Life, or maybe it's the other one? This is the first one I did. I eventually did another sculpture like this, which was actually a portrait of the person who commissioned it. Had lived in 16 different houses over the course of her lifetime, so she had me make little tiny miniature portraits of every house that they lived in, and I put them on a wheel so you could turn it. It's really darling. This is my desk. I don't really sit here all that much, but it kind of is a repository for, books of research and magazines and a few old sketchbooks and that sort of thing. And then over here I've got, these are artworks and prints, posters for shows, that sort of thing. There's a lot of my stuff in there, but there's also a lot of things from other artists, same as the bigger one. And then this is an artwork that I collected from some awesome artists and dear friends of mine, Denise St. Marie and Timothy Walker. They did a lot of sign work, and this one really struck me, so I got that one. And some paintings on the wall. I shouldn't call them paintings. They're not really paintings. They're like printmaking collages. This is my Cameo machine, Silhouette Cameo. I use this more for cutting stencils than anything. It's a really lovely piece of equipment. I've got some drawers and things. I think this one's just got like, little 3D knickknacks and stuff I could use for sculpture. There's some fencing in here and some, things. And then the other drawer has Cameo accessories. So cords, cutting blades, little bits of vinyl. There's some notes on machine settings, that sort of thing. And I got this cabinet here, which is filled with, some artworks and stock sort of things. I've got like prints, paper prints here. I've got smaller paper prints here. Some framed things, business cards, older sculptural work. You can see there's, houses in here, packing materials, etc. This thing is very handy because I can just kind of shut the door and it's fine. And then, you know, there's all kinds of like packing materials and whatever underneath that desk as well. Then moving on, I've got on top of that cabinet, I've got some prints, reproduction prints of artworks I've done, as well as original monoprints. So I take those to shows and that sort of thing. Then I've got another shelf here of essentially mostly finished artworks and a little bit more packaging materials. Including I have some like catalogs, which are like, you know, they're just a little catalog of artworks that I offer through my website that you can, you know, you can order with different media types and sizes and that sort of thing. I take those to shows and stuff too. And I've got my big table. This one is for big messy work. It's a really old table, so I don't care if I kind of mess it up. I also keep a bunch of like, you know, paper on there, big scrap papers that I use for filming, and also mixed media papers for the things I use quite often. And my big gel plate lives over there as well. Got a wall of paintings. These are usually works in progress paintings, but a lot of these are finished, and because I was doing some varnishing lately, I just put them up there. They will find a permanent home soon. I've got some, you know, little ornaments and things that I've made hanging from the roof, and little bits of paper things that, you know, could make their way in collage, that sort of thing. More ornaments. Here's my desk drawers. So I've got containers for things like, I'm always sorting things out when I'm doing collages and that sort of thing. Giant roll of paper. I've got a second studio stool here. This is usually Tiki's seat. And I've got drawers full of, you know, stuff. Plastic bags, makeup sponges. These are my hand-carved stamps. All in there. We got the bottom drawer is full of medium and, you know, modeling paste and gesso and art materials of all kinds. And then I got my big table. This is the place where I do most of my work. So it's an 8-foot table, and I've got more, you know, unfinished artworks there, works in progress. I've got drawers full of all kinds of things. There's, you know, office supplies and hot glue gun and stickers and all kinds of things in here. Washi tape is a big one. Love washi tape. Those are more for my sketchbooks than anything else. Got things like Posca pens, ink pads, little things on top of my drawers. There's smaller containers for things like alcohol inks and textures of things I might want to print with. And there's my rollers, markers of all kinds, and different kinds of like texture tools and embossing needles and that sort of thing. And then on the bottom of my desk here, I have all my, well, not all of them, but a good selection of sketchbooks and tools. I have a little like light pad here in there, which is kind of a dream. I have carbon paper. I have works in progress. I have some collage books and sketchbooks and my symbolism book and color wheels and that sort of thing. And then I've got a lot of my tools and things. This is lots of knives and pens and pencils and markers and rulers and a little broom to brush things off. There's tape rolls up there. There's paper towel. There's templates in the back. There's paper over there. Those are my two main gel plates, the 8x10s. I got a toque because it's almost always cold in here. Then if we go over here, we have, this is my stencil organizer. Essentially it's just plastic bags that I've used to label and store my stencils in. So they're kind of labeled by theme, but that's rather arbitrary really. It just helps me to keep things where I want to find them, where I can find them, and not get them all stuck to each other. So I've got smaller ones up here, that sort of thing. More tools and mediums. These are things like palette knives, color shapers, some brushes that I use all the time, some materials that I use all the time, like there's glazing medium in there, there's stamp cleaner, some glues, a little bit of washi tape, clamps. Then in the back here, I have a whole stash of different color Sharpie markers, and I've got more mediums there that I use quite regularly. So gloss varnish, matte gel, gesso, PVA glue, matte medium, that sort of thing. And then I've got some like makeup sponges and Q-tips and that sort of thing there. Those are great for gel printing, and usually what I do is, if it's not something that has to be thrown out once I use it, like the makeup sponges, I just cut the dried paint part off and reuse them, so they all end up in there. Up top I've got music, that's important. Up top I've got all of these recycled packages mostly. These are a lot of, you know, boxes of things that we buy that I've, you know, repainted sometimes and labeled to hold things like collage materials. There's, you know, I've got a box full of ideas. I've got like containers of things. These are just like lids and things I can use for sorting bits of paper and things. Brushes. I'm not a painter exactly, so I don't actually use a lot of brushes. So these are mostly just ones that I've got from cheapy places, and once they're dead, I throw them out. It's not really a big deal. More boxes full of containers, buttons, collage materials, lino tools, Stabilo woodies, you know, drawing materials, Prismacolors, collage, lots of collage. I got a little bit of craft foam, resin stuff, thread, samples, photos, postage stamps, deco foil. I think probably about 50% of these are actually filled with collage materials. And while that might seem really confusing, it's not for me because I kind of know what's where. Other people might not be so informed when it comes to my labels, but that's okay. All right, so that's my main desk. And then I've got a lot of like work in progress stuff over here. Kind of prints that I'm kind of thinking about. Those aren't finished prints, but they're ideas that could turn into something else. I got paper, all kinds of sorted papers, so more bigger collage bits, pieces for grattage, printed deli papers, collage materials from magazines, and I got a big stock of like collage materials from some French magazines, which is kind of fun. This is my secondary table. So these are the boxes I use the most, mostly jelly printed papers. So I've got a box here that is pages that I want to print more because they're not done. They could use some more work. And then I've got other ones that are not successful as prints on their own, but that, you know, have parts in them that would be useful for collage. So I pull most of my materials from that, and this is just more collage papers because the box is not big enough, which means I need to make more work. So, you know. And then moving over to my other shelving unit here. This is one of my favorite things that I've made, which seems really silly to say that. This is based on a like baking rack. Essentially, it's just a holder for 2x2 MDF sheets that I use for a drying rack. So the fun part of this is that I can actually adjust the height as I need them for things that are drying. So if I'm drying something that's flat, I maybe can put them closer together, and if I'm drying something that's taller, I can space them out a little bit more so that they have the space they need. So I also use the top part for things like bigger artworks that I need to store, bigger pieces of paper. And then I've got different kinds of paper here, palette paper, canvas paper, carbon paper, that sort of thing, vinyl and cardstock for my cutting machine. More boxes of things that I use for collage, so collage papers, papers I can use for transferring images, fun foam stamps. I make a lot of these. These are amazing and so simple to make. So they're just made of fun foam and foam core, mostly a little bit of cardboard. I like to put little pieces of tape on the back so you have a handle to hold on to. I've got linoleum supplies here. I've got prepared canvases, and in canvases, wood panels in different stages of completion. Got more boxes down there of more canvases and containers for paints and that sort of thing. Then I come around here. These are some older works. So I used to make these like house sculptures with light boxes inside of them. So these are some that I was working on or never really finished, or, you know, still have, that sort of thing. And then over here is my gallery wall. This is, I use this rack for doing shows and that sort of thing, but I also use it for, you know, just displaying my work in my home when I'm prepping for shows or anything like that. So see some stuff over there, and then I've got more paintings on the walls, and there's a tool rack, and that's the bathroom over there. You don't really want to go in there. And then more paintings over here, a few more houses, and then I've got some, like, you know, things that aren't so pretty in the background, including a giant shelf full of sketchbooks. So that's the part of the studio I don't really go into as much. So that's kind of it. I hope you enjoyed my studio tour, and it's nice to see you. Take care, everybody. Bye. I missed part that's kind of important. So this is underneath my desk. So the cardboard box is full of textures and materials I use for gel printing. And I have a box full of paint with a heat gun in there. And there's a few more boxes of collage materials that I collect at, like, you know, secondhand shops and that sort of thing. And then my favorite thing here is the doctor's stool. So I got this on Amazon, but it's a stool for doctor's offices, but it essentially, I mean, it rolls around, it sits right under your bum, so you're not taking up too much space. And so I'm constantly whipping around the studio on that thing. It's a lot of fun. Then I've got collage materials and bits and bobs and some felting gear and that sort of thing in there as well. So there we go. I think that's it. Thanks for watching.